I was halfway through my second cup of coffee when I saw the post. Tuesday morning, nothing special. Just me, my phone, and the silence Dana left behind when she flew out to Napa the night before. Some luxury wine and art expo she'd been hyping for weeks. She said it was a work thing. Said she needed space to network. She left Lily's lunch half-packed on the counter. So I finished it, and now here I was, scrolling, mind on autopilot until I saw her post. Front and center. Dana, hugging some guy in a designer suit. They were cheek to cheek. His hand was low. Too low. Her smile wasn't her usual polite gallery smile either. She was leaning into him like he was gravity. The caption read, "Couldn't survive these weekends without my real partner in crime, wineglass artist palette, #gallery family, #event husband." I read it twice. No, 3 times. Just to be sure I wasn't losing my mind. Quick note, before we go any further. Share what city or country you're watching from. This one's gonna be a ride. I didn't feel rage. Not even shock, weirdly. Just this tight, sinking pull in my gut like something finally clicked into place. I clicked on his profile. Derek Lang, the gallery's executive director. Figures. Same guy I'd seen in background shots over the past year. But this wasn't background. This was a billboard. I zoomed in. His hand sat just above her waistband. Thumb tucked under the back of her blouse. Comfortable. Familiar. She didn't look uncomfortable. She looked at home. I stood up slowly, set my coffee down without a sound, and walked to the desk drawer by the stairs. The papers were already printed. I'd had them ready for months. Not because I wanted this, but because I knew who Dana was becoming. I placed them on the kitchen table, right where she'd see them first thing when she walked back in. Then I went back to the post. I didn't message her privately. I didn't call. I just left a comment. Separation papers are on the kitchen table. Then I locked my phone, tossed it on the counter, and headed outside. The gutters were clogged. The hose was tangled. And my daughter was upstairs brushing her teeth like it was any other school morning. I climbed the ladder, grabbed a handful of wet leaves, and got to work. I was still up on the ladder when my phone lit up inside the kitchen window. First one call, then 2, then a string of texts. Dana, over and over. Didn't read a single one. Just kept clearing out muck from the gutter, slow and methodical, until I couldn't hear the buzzing anymore. That phone could burn itself out for all I cared. Half an hour later, Lily came downstairs, lunchbox in hand, jacket half-zipped. She gave me this confused look, like she could sense something was off but didn't want to ask. I kissed the top of her head and told her to have a good day. She hesitated at the door. "Will Mom be home Friday?" "Not sure," I said. "We'll talk later, okay?" She nodded, but her eyes lingered a second too long before she walked out to catch the bus. The silence after that was thick. Just the sound of water trickling through the downspout and a few birds arguing in the trees. I cleaned the last of the gutter out, rinsed off the driveway, and threw Dana's charger in the junk drawer where it belonged. By 3:30, the phone was still lighting up every 5 minutes. She was flooding me, calls, messages, even a voice memo. I still didn't listen. Then the front door opened, and Caleb stepped in. He dropped his backpack hard. Didn't even say hi. He looked pale. Real pale. "What happened?" I asked. He stood there for a second, jaw clenched, like he didn't know where to start. "Everyone saw Mom's post." I didn't say anything, just waited. He pulled out his phone, tapped the screen. "People are saying stuff on the team, like, 'Guess your mom's got a new MVP.' Dumb crap." Coach pulled me aside after practice. Said maybe I should take a day off. My stomach dropped. "How long has this been going on?" He shrugged, but it wasn't casual. "Couple weeks. Since her last expo. Every time she posts one of those event husband pics, I hear about it the next day. I didn't want to make it worse, so I didn't tell you." That hit me straight in the chest. I hadn't even thought about how her public showboating would bleed into their lives. And now here was my 17-year-old, carrying the embarrassment alone so I wouldn't worry. "Caleb," I started. "It's fine," he said. "It's not the first time. Just the loudest." "No," I said, standing up. It's not fine. Not anymore. I told him to sit tight and texted Lily's school to let them know I'd be picking her up. When we got back, I called them both into the living room. They sat side by side, Lily already holding her brother's hand. I stayed standing. I need to tell you both something, I said. Your mom and I are separating. Lily's eyes went wide. She looked from me to Caleb like it wasn't registering. Wait, what? You're getting divorced. I sat down in front of them. We're not at divorce yet, but we're not staying like this. She started crying, shoulders shaking. Caleb pulled her close, arm around her. I didn't move. I needed her to know I wasn't going to sugarcoat it. Caleb looked at me, calm but firm. Is it about the guy in the photo? I nodded once. Yeah. They glanced at each other. Then Caleb said, We've seen him before. Derek, right? She's always posting with him. Napa, Chicago, Santa Fe. Even tagged him on that wine train thing. Lily wiped her nose. She always looks different in those pictures. I looked at both of them. I'm not asking you to hate her. She's still your mom. But what she did wasn't respectful to our family. And that matters. Just then, the phone rang again. Same name, same ringtone. This time I answered on speaker. Dana came in hot. Mark? What the hell? Why would you post that? Are you seriously? I cut her off. You want to talk? Fine. The kids are here. So tell them why their friends are passing around photos of you hanging off some guy in a suit. Silence. Tell them you forgot you had a real husband while you played gallery wife with Derek. Mark! She started, voice suddenly soft. It's not what it looks like. He's just a work friend. We all call each other that. It's a joke. Lily looked down. Caleb didn't flinch. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. This stopped being funny the second it stopped being private. I hung up. Then I walked over to the kitchen, opened the fridge, and started pulling out dinner ingredients. Ground beef, onions, pack of buns. Caleb came in behind me, grabbed the skillet and said, I'll cook. By morning, I'd made up my mind. After Lily left for school and Caleb was still upstairs brushing his teeth, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop and pulled up the gallery's site. Found the number I needed. Jonathan Baker, director of Westfall Contemporary. A longtime client of mine, our auction house had moved dozens of pieces for his events. We weren't friends, but we knew each other well enough to skip the small talk. He picked up on the third ring. Jonathan, it's Mark Evans. A pause. Mark, hey, everything all right? No. I'm calling about something that affects your gallery's reputation. And mine, honestly. Okay. I didn't waste time. I told him about Dana's public post, the comment I left, and the caption that started it. Then I emailed the screenshots straight to his inbox while we were still on the call. Check your email, I said. You'll want to see this for yourself. The line went dead quiet for a few seconds. Then he spoke, slower this time. Jesus Christ. That's not great. No, it's not. Especially when your director of curation is billing these trips as business and tagging herself like she's got a second husband. He sighed. Long and heavy. We've had sponsors raise eyebrows before, but nothing like this. She'll be questioned as soon as she's back in town. She should be, I said. He didn't argue. I hung up and closed the laptop. It wasn't revenge. It was accountability. And I wasn't letting her skate by with the usual smooth-talking spin she used on everyone else. That afternoon, I was in the garage organizing some old storage bins when Caleb came home. He walked in through the side door, dropped his gym bag by the washer, and leaned against the wall like he didn't want to be seen too much. What happened? I asked, wiping my hands on a rag. Coach pulled me aside again after practice. Yeah, he nodded. Said he overheard some of the parents whispering at last week's fundraiser. Apparently someone made a comment about mom and her work boyfriend. People are putting it together now. I waited. He wasn't done. He looked down for a second, then up at me. Coach asked if we were safe. That stopped me cold. Safe, I said. Yeah, like, are things okay at home? Is mom unstable? I don't know. He didn't say it straight, but it was in his voice. I exhaled through my nose. All right, that's enough of this silent damage. Time to bring in backup. He gave me a look. Who? Your grandmother. I walked into the house, grabbed my phone, and called Sandra, Dana's mother. She answered right away. Mark, everything okay? I'm going to be direct with you, I said. Dana's crossing a line. I've been patient, but it's getting worse. I need your help. What do you mean? So I told her. Not everything, just enough. The post, the public comment, the photo, the way our kids were paying the price while Dana played gallery wife across the country. Her tone shifted. No, she wouldn't. That's not like her. I expected that. So I sent her the screenshots. Didn't say another word. Just waited. 30 minutes later, she called back. I didn't raise her like this, she said, her voice shaking. No, I said. You didn't. She was always independent, yes, but not disrespectful. Not like this. She's lying to the kids. She's lying to everyone. I'm not stopping her from spinning her version of things, but I won't let her bury the truth either. Sandra went quiet. Then, do you want me to talk to her? Yes. Make her stop pretending. She needs to own it. She sighed. I'll talk to her tonight. I'll make sure she hears me. Good, I said. Then I hung up, grabbed my keys, and drove straight to the hardware store. It was time to change the locks. I had the locks in a bag on the passenger seat when I pulled into Louise Cho's parking lot. She'd been my lawyer for over 15 years. Trusted. Sharp. No drama. I'd helped her auction off her dad's rare book collection after he passed. She knew my family. She knew Dana. And she wouldn't waste time asking pointless questions. The second I walked into her office, I slid the manila folder across the desk. Photos, captions, comments, screenshots of Dana's public gallery wife life. I didn't flinch while she flipped through them. She stopped halfway and looked up. You ready to file? Today. Louise nodded once, then pulled out a fresh legal pad. Any assets you're prioritizing? The beach cabin, I said. It was left to me by my father. Dana never paid a cent into it. I want that locked in before she even thinks about getting clever. You have the deed? In the folder. Title's in my name. Good, she said, jotting it down. Custody? Full. No split. She paused. That's a steep ask, Mark. The kids are already carrying her baggage. She made them collateral. Caleb's getting harassed at school. Lily cried herself to sleep last night. Dana made this mess in public. She can explain it to a judge. Louise gave a slow nod. You'll need documentation of emotional strain. Witnesses help. You have anything beyond the post? Working on it. Their school counselors can confirm what's been happening. Caleb's coach, too. All right, I'll draft the petition and email a full file for review before the end of the week. We shook hands, and I left without looking back. That evening, once the kids were in their rooms doing homework, I sat down at the kitchen table and opened my laptop. Subject: HR escalation Dana Evans. To hr@westfallgallery.com. CC: jaker@westfallgallery.com. I laid it all out. The dates, the flights, the photos, the captions, the company-sponsored trips billed as business but framed online as something else entirely. Attached a folder of evidence and added a quick line at the bottom. This is not a personal dispute. It's a reputational liability for your brand. I trust you'll act accordingly. I hit send. Next, I logged into our shared business account and froze Dana's card. She'd been racking up points for wine tastings and spa services for months, calling them networking meals. Not anymore. Then I wired 60 grand into a trust fund I'd quietly set up last fall for Caleb and Lily. No more debating who gets what when the time comes. That money was theirs and no one, especially Dana, was touching it. The last thing I did was drive straight to the beach cabin after dinner. I changed every lock on the doors and windows, stuck the old keys in an envelope and wrote access revoked. No exceptions. Felt damn good sliding that note under her jewelry box. By the time I pulled back into the driveway, Caleb was in the garage organizing our fishing gear. I walked in, tossed him a wrench, and started stacking bins beside him. He didn't look up. Mom's calling family friends now. I raised an eyebrow. Saying what? That you had a breakdown. That you're paranoid. And you're destroying the family over a misunderstanding. I kept working. Calm. Focused. Then I looked at him and said, "Do I look broken to you?" He smiled for the first time in days. "No. You look like someone who finally got fed up." We didn't say anything after that. Just worked side by side, sorting through the mess. The garage was cleaned out and locked when I heard the tires crunch over the driveway gravel. I already had the porch light on. I sat in the rocking chair with a glass of iced tea in my hand, like I'd been waiting for a guest I didn't particularly want. Dana stepped out of the car, slow and heavy. Eyes red, makeup smudged, suitcase dragging behind her like an anchor. Her heels wobbled once on the last step, but she caught herself. She looked like hell, but not the kind I pitied. She spotted me and tried a soft approach. "Can we talk?" she asked. I nodded toward the chair across from me. "Sit." She didn't. Instead, she leaned against the post like she was trying to keep it casual. "HR called me. Said they got an email. You really went there." "I did." "Why?" she said, almost whispering. "Why would you do that to me?" I set the tea down. "You humiliated your family in public," I said flat. "Now you'll be corrected in public." Her lip twitched. "It wasn't like that." I tilted my head. "No." She shook hers. "He was just a friend. Everyone on the team jokes like that. Event husband is a nickname. It's not literal." The screen door creaked open behind me, and Caleb stepped out. He didn't say anything at first, just stood there, arms crossed. Then, clear and steady. "Then why did you call him your husband when you already had one?" Dana froze. Her face fell a few inches, like the weight of it finally landed. "Caleb," she said gently, "you're still young. You don't understand how adult relationships work. There's—" "No," he said, cutting her off. "You don't get to explain it away. You made me a punchline at school. I was protecting you while you were busy pretending we didn't exist." She looked to me for backup. I gave her none. "You built a second identity," I said. "You smiled in every photo while we sat at home wondering why you always needed space." Her voice cracked. "I didn't cheat on you." I stood, stepped closer. My voice stayed low. "You made another man your public partner. You posted it for the world. You laughed when they called you his wife." She shook her head, desperate now. "You don't know the whole story." "I know enough," I said. "And I'm not here for a confession. I'm here for closure." I pulled the manila envelope from the side table, walked it over and handed it to her. She stared down at it like it might bite. "What is this?" "Separation papers. Final version. Same as the draft I left on the table. You have a choice. Sign the papers and walk away with dignity, or fight, and I'll make sure you lose everything." Her eyes widened. "You wouldn't. Try me." She stood frozen, breathing shallow. Then she took a shaky step forward. "I choose us," she whispered. "Please, I choose us." I turned my back, stepped toward the door, then stopped. "You already chose him. 17 times. Online." I opened the door and walked inside. Didn't say another word. Friday morning, the call came right after I finished packing Lily's lunch. I stepped into the laundry room, shut the door, and picked up. "Mark Evans." Jonathan Baker's voice came through, sharp and clipped. "Speaking. We've completed a preliminary audit," he said. "Dana's been formally suspended. Effective immediately." I didn't respond. I just let him keep going. She charged the gallery for personal meals, hotel upgrades, and at least 5 double occupancy rooms marked as team events. We're demanding reimbursement and proof of receipts going back 12 months. And she admitted to an emotional relationship with Derek. There it was. The truth finally out of her mouth. Just not to the people who actually mattered. Jonathan sounded tired. "The board's reviewing her position. She won't be back anytime soon." "Copy that," I said. "Anything else?" "We'll let you know if legal needs a statement." Thank you for bringing this to our attention. I hung up, walked back into the kitchen, and poured my coffee like it was any other Friday. A few hours later, Caleb came home from school with a bounce in his step I hadn't seen in weeks. He dropped his backpack, tossed me a granola bar from the pantry, and said, "I confronted Logan. He's the one who kept making the jokes. What happened?" He made some snarky comment again, and I told him to shut his mouth unless he wanted everyone to know what his mom did at the spring banquet. I raised an eyebrow, and that worked. Coach was standing 10 feet away, Caleb said. He walked over, told me I handled it right, said he's proud of how I've been showing up. I clapped him on the shoulder. Good. You deserve to walk in there with your head up. Dinner was quiet. Dana hadn't come out of the guest room all day. We ate chicken and rice, watched a little TV with Lily, and cleaned up without saying much. Then, just past 10, the bedroom door opened. Dana stomped down the stairs barefoot, holding her phone in one hand and a crumpled paper in the other. Her voice was high-pitched and shaking. "They're trying to criminalize me. HR is demanding receipts for every gallery trip I've taken since last September." "No," I said, staying calm. "They're asking for accountability. This is insane. I didn't steal anything. It's not theft." Lily stood by the fridge, frozen. Dana turned and snapped, "What? Why are you staring at me?" Lily's voice was small but steady. "Mom, you're mad because people noticed." Dana spun around. "Excuse me? You posted all those pictures," Lily said. "You tagged him. You called him your partner. Now you're mad that it caught up to you." Dana's face twisted. "Don't talk to me like that. You don't understand how the world works." "Don't yell at her." I cut in. "Not for speaking the truth." She looked at me like I just smacked her. "You're turning them against me." "No," I said. "You did that yourself." Caleb stepped out from the hallway. "We watched you lie every month for a year. You picked him over us. And now you want sympathy because it exploded." Dana's voice cracked. "I didn't do anything physical." "Didn't have to," I said. "The damage was done long before any hotel receipt." She dropped onto the couch, buried her face in her hands. Then she finally said it. "I liked the attention, okay? He made me feel important, like someone wanted me." I stood still, let the words hang there for a beat. "Attention isn't love," I said. "And pretending someone else is your husband isn't marriage." Nobody said anything after that. The room stayed quiet. I picked up the empty water glasses, walked them to the sink, and started rinsing them clean. The appointment was her idea. Dana texted me the name and time 2 days later, like we were co-parenting adults who still shared trust. Dr. Ramirez, family therapist. Thursday, 4 p.m. No explanation, no apology. We showed up, all 4 of us. Same room, same couch, different world. Dr. Ramirez was mid-40s, calm voice, calm face. She welcomed us, asked a few light questions. Dana barely waited before jumping in. "He's turning them against me," she said, nodding toward me. "Every time I try to talk to them, they shut down. I know they're being fed things." I didn't say a word, just looked at Caleb. He leaned forward, voice low but direct. "Nobody fed me anything. I lived it." Dana frowned. "Lived what?" "Your fake posts. The hugs. The wine glasses. People at school passed them around like memes. They printed them out and put them on my locker. You made me the joke of the team." Dana shifted in her seat. "It wasn't meant that way." "Doesn't matter," he said. "That's what it became." Dr. Ramirez turned to Lily. "How about you?" Lily sat small but steady. "I don't get why you did it, Mom. You already had a family. Why'd you pretend to be in one with him?" Dana's voice cracked. "It wasn't pretending." Dr. Ramirez stepped in. "Then what was it?" Dana's eyes watered. "It was just workplace closeness. A strong bond. We worked long hours together. I didn't realize how it looked." Dr. Ramirez didn't flinch. "How do you think it looked to your husband and children?" Dana broke. The tears came fast this time. "I didn't think about them," she said. "I should have. I was selfish. I just wanted to feel something different. Dr. Ramirez looked at me. Mark, do you think reconciliation is possible? I shook my head slowly. This isn't about anger, I said. It's about trust. And I don't trust her anymore. Dana turned to me, eyes pleading. But I want to fix it. Caleb answered before I could. You're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry you got caught. Dr. Ramirez glanced at Dana. She didn't deny it. The session ended 20 minutes later. No hugs. No promises. Just 4 people leaving in silence, down a narrow hallway that felt tighter than when we walked in. The conference room smelled like old carpet and printer ink. Louise had a pot of burnt coffee going in the corner, but none of us touched it. Dana sat across from me at the long table, shoulders stiff, hair pulled too tight like she was holding herself together strand by strand. Her mom, Sandra, sat beside her, lips pressed in a flat, unreadable line. The final stack of papers sat between us. Louise read through the terms one last time, clear and slow. Mark receives full physical and legal custody of Caleb and Lily. The beach cabin and all assets associated with it remain solely in his name. Dana retains partial equity in the house and access to her retirement accounts. No spousal support. Mutual agreement. Both parties have reviewed and approved. Dana nodded slowly, like each word was a gut punch. Louise handed her the pen. She picked it up, looked at me once, then started signing. Page 1. Page 2. She paused at page 3, blinked hard, then kept going. Sandra leaned over and whispered something in her ear. I didn't catch it. Dana didn't respond. When she reached the last page, she hesitated. This is really it? She asked. Louise didn't say anything, just tapped the final line. Dana signed. Sandra let out a breath. Not dramatic, just final. This is what taking responsibility looks like, she said softly, but Dana heard it. I stood and reached for my copy, slid it into the folder Louise handed me. Dana looked up. What are you going to tell people? I didn't even think about it. The truth, that you forgot you were married, and had to be reminded in front of the entire town. Sandra closed her eyes for a second. Dana didn't argue. I nodded at Louise, gave a quick thanks, and walked out. Outside, the sun hit me square in the face. Caleb was in the driver's seat of my truck, Lily in the back with her headphones in. I slid into the passenger side. Caleb glanced at me. That's it? He asked. Signed, I said. He looked straight ahead for a few seconds, hands resting on the wheel. Do you feel like it's really over? I leaned back, stared out at the light bouncing off the sidewalk. Yeah, I said. Now we can breathe again. The grill hissed as I flipped the last burger. Caleb leaned over the railing of the deck, phone in hand, sunglasses sliding down his nose. Lily was on a blanket in the yard, notebook open, half a dozen rocks and leaves lined up like science fair trophies. The beach cabin smelled like charcoal and ocean salt. No shouting, no phone calls, no cleanup from someone else's mess. Just the 3 of us and the sound of waves rolling in steady behind the dunes. Caleb turned to me. UCLA wants me to come out next month. They've got a spot open on their business program visit list. I raised an eyebrow. They know you can't cook, right? He grinned. That's what takeout's for. Lily sat up, pushing her hair back. My science club made regionals. We're doing a project on marine bacteria. Don't bring any home, I said. She smirked. No promises. I handed Caleb a plate, fresh off the grill. As he sat, he pulled out his phone again. Hey, random. That gallery guy? Baker? He called you last week, right? Yeah. Dana listed me as a reference without asking. What did you say? I told the truth, I said. What she did, how it affected her coworkers and her family. That was it. He nodded slowly. She doesn't really get it, does she? She never did. Choices mean something. So does protecting the people under your roof. Lily looked up at me. Do you miss being married? I paused for a second, then shrugged. I miss what I thought marriage was supposed to be. That answer seemed to sit right with her. She went back to drawing circles in the sand with her pen. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I opened the text. Thank you. I'm engaged now to someone who's actually available. Derek. I held up the screen so they could both see it. Caleb let out a sharp laugh. He learned the hard way. We ate in peace. Nothing left to clean up except paper plates and grill tools. That night, I sat alone on the deck with a cold beer and a hoodie pulled tight against the breeze. The kids were inside, music low, TV flickering. Waves crashed in a steady rhythm. No drama, no lies, just quiet, peace, silence, accountability. No more wondering when the next betrayal would come. Drop your take in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this.